My name is Paul Emerson, and as always, I will be giving you my 2 cents. Ethics, morality, legality, unethical, immoral, illegal. When I first started my 2 cent, well, let me go back before even before my 2 cent. When I first started using social media, my goal was to engage in intellectual conversation with like-minded people. I've never really been. I don't consider myself above average or super intelligence, or I'm not arrogant enough to believe that I have all of the answers and that I'm the best and that I'm perfect in any way. That's never been the person that I've ever wanted to be, because I see those people in the world and they're not, for one thing, they're not happy. They're never happy. They're never content with life. And most importantly, to err is to be human. To make mistakes is to be human. To the capacity by which we are able to make decisions and have autonomy and agency, and it's a duality, right? We have free will because we are not capable of doing everything we want to do. If you could do exactly what you wanted, when you wanted, however you wanted it, whenever you wanted it, you would question the legitimacy of your own agency. If you were not able to make, if you wanted to go to the gas station and buy some chips, and you couldn't lose your keys, or couldn't forget your change, or couldn't forget your wallet, or couldn't get to the gas station and forget, what did I want? I wanted chips. Like, if you couldn't do all of the things that we take for granted when it comes to our capacity by which we can make mistakes and error, we wouldn't be anything other than mindless automatons. Being able to do everything correctly and perfect is not sapience. It's not sentient sapience. So religion has taken away the thing that makes us who we are. We have been reduced and diminished because there's profit to be made, and telling you that the things that you do that are immoral, unethical, and illegal, I can benefit from it. Why do we live in a society where someone makes profit off of your shortcomings in life? Why don't we live in a society that by its nature attempts to reduce shortcomings, attempts to eliminate, and like homelessness? Why do we have more homeless people in the country than we have more empty homes than we have homeless individuals? But for some reason, these people that are sleeping on the street in front of these abandoned buildings are not allowed to be able to have the agency they need to be able to afford an apartment. Because it's not about them not wanting to have an apartment. If they didn't want to be part of society, they would leave society. It's about the necessity of the industry to ensure that there's money to be made, and having people not be able to have a place to live. Those empty buildings make more money than they would if there was people living in them, and no one wants to address that issue. If you can make more profit in life by having an empty house than you can off the having a house that has a tenant in it, then why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? If it's more, and the first thing you'll say is, well, no, that doesn't make any sense, because if that was true, but think about it, the house is empty for a reason. The owner of the house has an empty house. So why? Why? Because he's making money off of it. Because she's making money off of it. An empty house is earning them a revenue. Otherwise, they'd have a tenant in there so they can extract the wealth of the tenant, for better or for worse. But you have to realize that that's the society we live in. You've got billions, hundreds of millions of empty homes that are all assets that are generating wealth for people, and the tenant is the problem. You know, I could spend a lot of time ranting and raving and going on a tangent, but I want to try to stay focused, even though I don't have anything really scripted. There's been a lot of conflict in general when it comes to the dynamic between the modern dynamic of relationships. There's been a lot of conflict, and as someone that is recently married and having to go through, it's kind of like running a business. the first few years of your business is either going to be successful or failure. So even though my wife doesn't really want me to speak on her behavior, and even though I don't want to put my business out in the street, there is a necessity for, I'm 42. When I was trying to find a wife and be a husband and start a family when I was in my early 20s. That's the reason why I paid child support for 19 years. I didn't just casually get a girl pregnant. I was engaged and wanted to be a loving husband and a loving father because my father raised me in a household where he was a loving husband and a loving father, despite the fact that my stepmother didn't want to acknowledge or respect that. So I want to weigh in because ethics, morality, and legality are the things that we use to govern ourselves by. We're expected to be good, honest, decent members of a society and have a mutual discourse and a mutual understanding and a mutual relationship with each other. But the profit margin of corporations make money off of the chaos and the dissension and the inequalities, for lack of a better word. Inequalities of the world generate revenue. So there's always this thing where men are supposed to be the head, men are supposed to lead, men are supposed to, command respect and be leaders and take action and take accountability. But far too many women, see, this is the issue. The squeaky wheel gets all the oil, right? So let's say that 90% of marriages are working. Let's just throw out 90% of marriages are working. The 10% of the people, both male and females in the world, that are complaining about their divorces and their failings are outshadowing all of the people that are content in their marriages and not doing what I'm doing right now. There's no one on the internet saying I have a loving husband, takes care of me, provides for me, does all of the things that is expected of me as a wife, as a husband to me as a wife, and I'm grateful to be in a relationship with this man, because they don't need to. When you're happy and continue your life, you don't need to get on the internet and whine and complain about your happiness. No one's doing that. The internet is full of toxic people, not because the world is dominated by toxic people, but because people are legitimately happy in their lives. And the small percentage of us that are still struggling to find a voice are on the internet complaining. And my 2 cents is about realizing that you have the power of your own, you have a power over your own life, and you can shape your life into whatever you want it to be, which is the reason why I'm making this video. Because the conflict that I'm having with my wife is one where everyone's going to tell me that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Everyone's going to say, you need to do better. But I'm being a legal, moral, and ethically sound person. And my wife wants me to not be that. She wants me to move as a woman. She wants me to be feminine. She wants me to use the same kind of tactics in the world that a woman gets away with. And this is the reason why I'm making this video. Because the average male does not live in the same reality as the average female. I spend a lot of time writing about multiverse theory, writing stories, parallel realities, all that stuff. Men and women don't live in the same reality. We occupy the same space-time, but we don't live in the same reality. I can run down the street at 5:30 in the morning, and the only thing I have to do is worry about the police harassing me. My wife couldn't come out here at 5:30 in the morning by herself and jog. We don't live in the same reality. Men understand that. Women act like we don't understand that, and we do understand that. I get the freedom that I have to be able to come out here and be able to run down the street for 4 miles every day and not get harassed or disrespected by the people around me. No one's trying to hump on my leg when I come outside. The flip side of that is, women believe that because when they're out in the world and everyone is, and all the other men around them are trying to cater to them, that life is easy, and it's not easy for men. It's not. That's why I have to come out here at 4:30 in the morning and run down the street every 4 miles. And the reason why nobody is bothering me when another man sees me It's because they already understand that the struggle that I have is synonymous with the struggle that they got. And they keep it pushing because they got shit they gotta do to get through life. Like I got shit that I gotta do to get through life. But it only works in a society that functions off of legality, ethics, and morality. When you start doing illegal stuff, immoral stuff, and unethical stuff, then I can't run down the street at 5:30 in the morning and take care of who I am so I can do the things that I need to do. And the average female that is not part of the 90% of women that are happy in their marriages don't understand that. And what they're doing is they're creating the conditions that give rise to anarchy and tyranny. And the 90% of the men and women in this world that are in stable health, and the reason why I keep saying stable healthy marriages is because that's what my father was in. My father was in a stable healthy marriage, but his wife wanted to be a bitch. My stepmother wanted to go out of her way to make things harder than they needed to fucking be. I'm gonna give you one example. And this speaks directly to what I'm talking about when it comes to the dynamic between the masculine and the feminine in society. When I was a kid, I didn't really know what was going on in the world. And I just saw how happy my father was in his marriage with his wife. Even though she was a fucking bitch. Like, even though every day he came home to this ungrateful, arrogant piece of shit woman. My stepmother was such a fucking bitch that I spelt that shit out in the concrete in my backyard. She irritated me so damn much that I grabbed a piece of metal and I carved Ida is a bitch into the concrete in my backyard. But my brothers and sisters who I love, we was chilling. Like, we was content. We had food, we had shelter, we had love. Whatever deficiencies that we received from our stepmother was overshadowed by the love that we received from our father. My father, I remember coming home and my father kept telling my stepmother, I need you to fill out this application so I could become a truck driver. I need you to fill out this truck driver application for me. I don't want to do it. I need you to fill out this truck driver application for me. He just kept saying it. And he was like, I need you to just do what I'm asking you to do. You're my wife and I need you to just do this for me. Just do it. 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 He kept saying it. Like, he said it so much that the child that I was remembered this story. He said it that much. It happened for that long. And then not too long after remembering that, he became a truck driver. So I knew instinctively as a child, and this is important. I knew instinctively as a child, the reason why my father was a truck driver was because my stepmother filled out his application, right? I understood that. Like, there's not a part of me that was retarded or incompetent or incapable of understanding the dynamic of the household. I got that my father asked his wife to do something. His wife did what she asked him to do. And then he became the thing that she assisted him in. So indirectly, she was responsible for him obtaining that, right? I understand. Like, those are basic, fundamental things that we understand about life, right? So he became a truck driver, which obviously made more wealth and brought in more money in the household. He was happier. He was drinking less. He was attentive. Like, he was gone a little bit more because he was driving trucks. But the money he received from that level of increase in life directly affected the household to where we were better. We even moved into a new apartment. Like, we upgraded everything. Like, because my father went from being a hustler and, a street guy, not really into selling drugs or anything like that. Just as legal as possible, he did whatever he could do to make money. My father was the type of man that my brother was lactose intolerant. He would steal baby formula because it was the only thing that my brother could eat. He would go to the store, he would steal baby formula, and he would bring it home so that my brother would be able to eat. My brother would cry for hours and hours and hours and hours every day. And so my father didn't steal money to go buy baby formula. He needed baby formula that he couldn't afford because he was taking care of 4 kids and a wife. So he would go get the thing that he needed. He went to go get just that. That was the one thing he didn't have no money for. My uncles came down to Washington one time, and we were all in the car, and he pulled up in the gas station because he couldn't afford the gas, and he was going to just steal gas with us in the car. And my father was like, here's $20. You don't need to, what are you doing? You could have just asked me for money. You're not going to. And he explained this stuff to me later. He was like, I didn't need him to be having the police chasing us around with y'all in a car. Like, that doesn't make any sense. If you don't have any gas, you should have just said that, and we wouldn't have gotten your car. Like, if you couldn't afford to take us somewhere, you could have just said that, and then we wouldn't have had to been in that situation to begin with. But since I'm your brother, you could just ask me for the gas money. I'll just help you out. That's the type of wisdom that I grew up under, overshadowed by the ideological position of what it is to be an African American in society. This is the person that I've lived with every day. So when people were talking about what men wasn't doing, I didn't have that in my household. I didn't have a guy in my house that wasn't doing the things that were necessary for me. And he looked exactly like I did. So when people were saying things about who I should have been, the reflection of the person, of the man that I wanted to be was right there. So I saw better, so I knew better. But I digress. The understanding that my stepmother had some relationship with my father becoming a truck driver was always there, right? So after our life was improving, my stepmother decided that she wanted to. My father just got a brand new apartment. He comes home to find his wife sleeping on the living room floor with another man. He attacked this guy, and then he took my brothers and sisters to Domino's because he was working. He had the 2 jobs at the time. The police, they do what they do. They came up there. They did their investigation. They found out what was going on. He didn't get arrested. He didn't get charged with anything. But ultimately, this was the end of my relationship with my father. So my father winds up getting. My father and my stepmother winds up getting a divorce. When they get divorced, my stepmother gets my brothers and sisters from her, and I get stuck with my father. Now, I was about 15 or 16 at the time. So I was too young to understand this, but I understand it now. And this is why I say my stepmother's a fucking bitch. The system, my father was the breadwinner of the family. So the system, being as corrupt as it is, even though she was the one that committed adultery and infidelity, and my father was the primary provider and was taking care of us, she was able to use the corruption of the system to take custody of my brothers and sisters, right? Who should have been awarded custody? My father. Who was the one taking care of us and providing for us? My father. But because we live in a corrupt ass society, they gave custody of my brothers and sisters to their mother. I know my father. The first thing my father said to her was, will you take PC so that his brothers and sisters could stay together? And I know that bitch said no. So I wound up being alone with my father, who was a truck driver. And in the solitude of me and my father living together and taking care of each other and providing for one another and being there for each other, the isolation that I obtained and the necessity that he had to go out into the world and make money to be able to provide for me left me alone. Left me alone for about a year. And in that year, I became who I am. Chilling, like not worried about life, not concerned about things, just living my life. Ask my mother, I'm not responsible. Ask my father. My father left me alone. Like, we're talking about the average truck driver is gone. Let's say that, let's just say realistically, my father was gone 40 hours a week. Let's just give him a realistic window for him being gone. 40 hours a week. For 40 hours a week, I had no supervision. I got up every day. I got dressed. I walked to work, walked to the bus stop. Went to school. Came home from school. Didn't have any food to eat. Figured that shit out. Was content watching TV, playing video games, living my life because I didn't have an adult around me telling me dumb shit. So when my stepmother was fucking gone and I was able to have my own autonomy and freedom and didn't have to put up with her shit every goddamn day, I was so fucking content that I didn't even realize my father was alone. Because I was only 16. I didn't even realize that this man lost every fucking thing and that there was nobody there for him. And that he was trying to provide for me and him and keep his own sanity and deal with the reality of a world that just fucked him over. You spend all your life trying to take care of kids and provide and be an honest, legitimate person and a member of society, and your wife cheats on you. Your wife brings a man into the house that you just bought because you just upgraded with your fucking job, and you come home to find her on the goddamn floor with a white ass man. And this ain't got nothing to do with racism, but in general, you find your wife on the floor with a white ass man, and you're the bad guy. You get dragged to court, and you get treated like shit by a system that has been designed to fuck you over, because all you have done all your life is try to be in compliance with a broken system. And I didn't even realize that, you know, this person that I recognize as my father is in a bad place because I'm too young to know. I'm too fucking young as a 16-year-old child to understand the level of pain that my father is dealing with right now. Right? So I come home one day from school, and this is to show you literally how young I was. Come home from school, and there's firemen, police officers, paramedics, just like all up and down the street. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I'm walking home. I come in the house, business as usual. Like, because you get to a place where you're so, life is just life. So I come home, and the firemen are in my house. The ambulances are in my house. And I come in the house, and my father's sitting in his room, and he's exhausted, like he's always exhausted. And my stepmother's nowhere around. My brothers and sisters nowhere around. It's just me, my father, and the police and the firemen. And they're like, your father just tried to commit suicide. And my father's like, this is what he said. He said, I didn't try to commit suicide. If I was trying to commit suicide, I wouldn't have called y'all. I can't fucking sleep. And I know I took too many sleeping pills. And I need you to help me with that, because if I was trying to kill myself, I wouldn't have called you out here. So don't be trying to make it seem like it's something that is not to my son. I can't sleep. I took too many sleeping pills. And so now I'm trying to have you guys help me with that. That's the problem that I'm having right now. You know. And the reason why this is relevant to the story that I'm telling, or why this information is relevant at this moment, is because that was kind of like the fall. What happened, my wife is being a psychopath. And she's constantly trying to get me to understand the failings of my life. You're not a failure. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you are a failure in life. Nobody has the fucking right, not even God. God doesn't get to come down to this planet and pass judgment on you, because we are born ignorant and we have to do the best we can with the information we have. And when you live in a society that profits off of you being a failure, you're not a failure. You are just a victim of a system that's designed to fuck you over so that somebody else doesn't have to live the life that you're living. And that's just 100% that has to be understood, because you have the choice to do the things that you want to do. When my stepmother when my ex took me to court and lied about the relationship that I have with my daughter and got protection orders and restraining orders against me and forced me out of my daughter's life and took away my right to be able to go to my child's school so that she could see her father, that's not a failure. That's a fucked up ass person being a fucked up ass person in a fucked up ass society. And for me to be morally just, ethically sound, and legal, I have to be in compliance with a broken ass system. So my daughter grew up without a father. None of that is a failure. That's me operating at the highest level of who I'm supposed to be as a member of a society. Society is failing us. And we are choosing to allow society to fail us by being engaged in a broken system. Because like me and my uncle say, the system's not broken. It's working the way it's supposed to for the people that it benefits. But don't let people tell you or try to convince you that you are a problem, that you are the issue. Because those individuals that are not trying to, remember I said the 90% of people that are content with life, the 10% are trying to tell you that you are somehow at fault, are not in the position to understand how to fix the system. They're just not, because they don't know how. They just don't know how. I worked at McDonald's for 2 fucking years. And I've constantly explained to these individuals what needs to happen and why it needs to happen and what needs to take place. They are confident in the fact that if they just came to work and clocked in and sat on the clock for 8 hours, they could clock out and go home and they would get a check. And they don't understand economics. If the store doesn't make any money, the store will close. And if the store closes, you will lose your job. So whether you like it or not, you have to come here and do the minimum. You have to do at least the minimum if you want to get your paycheck. But they want to argue and fight with me every fucking day to try to get me to understand why me asking them to make their goddamn, to do their fucking job is a problem. And I'm the asshole because I'm in the position of authority to tell them, put a pickle on the sandwich. They don't want that with mustard. I need an extra sandwich because this bag needs 2 of those sandwiches. I don't understand. I don't have it on my screen. You don't need to fucking understand. Make the goddamn sandwich. I don't understand why you're talking to me like that. Because you agreed to come work at a fast food restaurant and make food for people so that this company can make money so that you can make money. It's not our fault that you don't fucking understand. And the business doesn't function if you don't do the bare fucking minimum. And then I have to be the asshole and the bad guy because of my skin complexion. Because it's okay if a blonde-haired white man with blue fucking eyes yells and screams at you, or worse, pretends like you're fucking competent. Good job back there doing the work when you're on your fucking phone. You're not doing shit. Get off your fucking phone and do the bare fucking minimum. Do the bare minimum in society. Because if we do the bare minimum in society, we eliminate all of the problems that we have in the world. Your inability to go to work and do your job is why you didn't make enough money to pay your rent. Your inability to have the money to pay your rent and not pay your rent is the reason why your rent didn't get fucking paid. Because you had the money to pay your rent, you just didn't. And nobody has the right to tell you what to do with your money and what to do with your life. But don't fucking pretend like when you had what you were supposed to have and you didn't do what you were supposed to do, it's somebody else's problem. And don't pretend like when somebody doesn't have what they need to have and they're asking for help and they need assistance in a fucking society, that they're the problem. Because sometimes you just don't have enough fucking money. I know I didn't have enough money when I was paying child support. And I know I repeatedly explained to people what my adversities were and what the problems that I had were. Nobody fucking cared. Nobody gave a damn about what my ex did. And now here I am trying to do the same fucking thing I was trying to do when I was 22. Be a legitimately decent, honest husband and man to my wife. And what does she want to do? She wants to be a fucking child. She wants to be part of the 10% that are not functional in this world. I want to be part of the 90% of the world that's doing the things they're supposed to be doing and getting out there and getting it done and being a contributing member of my society. But I got my wife wanting to be part of the 10% that's fell in the world. And as a husband, guess whose fault it is? It's my fault. Because she wants her autonomy and she wants her agency. And if I give her autonomy and I give her agency and she goes out here and she continues to behave like a single woman, guess who I'm going to be? My fucking father, coming home to my wife on the fucking living room floor with another man while I just went out there and grinded shit out to make a stable household. And then guess what she's going to fucking do? She's going to take me to court and take every fucking thing. Because I already watched it happen. So if I watched it happen, why would I let it happen again? And the problem is that the 10% of women that are fucking psychopaths engage in the 10% of men that are making an effort to try to be better versions of themselves and keep holding them back and holding them down. And you keep telling these men that they're the problem, that they're the victim, that they're the victimizers, and that they need to realize that they need to be real men. Real men mean what? What is a real man? What does that mean? What does that mean in society? If my goal is to put my penis in a vagina, and you're telling me that I need to be a real man, and this bitch wants me to go rob a bank, don't be mad at me when I go rob a fucking bank, because all I wanted to do is stick my penis in her vagina. But you told me to be a real man, and she said, I need you, baby, I need you to go rob a fucking bank. All right, I'm down. You're gonna let me hit it tomorrow, right? Yeah, just go rob a bank. So when he changed his vibration from legality to illegality, and ethics to unethical, and morals to immoral, because you're on Facebook telling him that she's right and he's fucking wrong, don't be mad at him when he's got a gun in your fucking face while you're trying to get gas at the gas station because he wants some fucking pussy. No, make it clear in what you're saying on the internet. Do the right thing all the fucking time when nobody is listening, like the army said. And if you're in a relationship with a woman that demands you to deviate from your actual ethics and morality and legality, tell her to grow the fuck up and go find somebody better. And the biggest difficulty in the world when it comes to the dynamic between men and women, and that we live in different realities, is that women are supporting these bitches. Women are on the internet supporting these bitches. And you know why? Because females are in competition with each other the same way that males are in competition with each other. So women are encouraging other women to be bitches so that they can have a better chance at obtaining a good man. Women don't want to see each other succeed, because it goes back to what I said about the corporations. There's profit to be made at your failure. If I, as a woman, teach another woman how to be a good woman, right? Let me put it to you like this. I'm a woman that has a big butt, and you're a woman that has big tits. If I, as a woman with a big butt, know how to keep a man, and I tell you as a woman with big tits how to keep a man, and the man that I want wants big tits, he's gonna be content with you because you have what he's looking for. If we have the same exact personality and we operate at the same energy level and we have the same vibrations and the same frequency, the only thing that's gonna make a difference between us is our bodies, right? At the end of the day, if a man is giving equal choices between women, then what does he have left to decide? Physical appearance. So when it comes down to all women being equal, the only thing that they can't change about themselves is their physical appearance. So what have women done? Women have universally, the 10%, not the 90%, 10% have universally accepted the fact that if we're all bitches, then we can keep sharing these niggas. If we're all bitches, they'll keep jumping from one of us to the other one of us, and we can all share these decent men together and get maximum gain from not having the level of respect for ourselves to elevate ourselves to a state where we can function at the competent level. And that's what we see in society. And we got these men and these other women out here trying to entertain the fact that these decent men are the problem. Your decency is the problem. Your goodness is the problem. Your righteousness is the problem. The fact that you want to go out here and be a contributing member of society, that vibration is not the one that we need to maintain our profit modem in this country. We can't do the things that we're trying to do in the world if you're a decent human being. You need to realize, statistically, society says that men in a household is significantly better than women in a household. And it's not actually true. It's not actually true. The best household is one that has a man and a woman. The best household is one with a male and a female. Households that are single mother typically fail because the women don't want to be functional beings. Because they wanted to be functional beings, they will humble themselves for one man. They don't want to be functional. So 100% of dysfunctional households will produce dysfunctional children. And when you live in a society where there isn't an even amount of men raising children as there are women raising children, you're not going to get a good statistic. Because the statistic that says that men are absolutely better at being parents than single women, it's screwed by the fact that 90% of households only have women. 90% of single households are women households. But if you could see that 50% of the women and 50% of the men are raising children alone, you will see the statistics show you that 50% of single households fail because it takes a man and a woman to raise one child. That's why it takes a man and a woman to produce one child. If nature made it that way, there was a reason. There was a reason why women don't reproduce asexually. Because asexually reproduction dominates life on this fucking planet. Whether you believe in God or not. The vast majority of sexual reproduction on this planet is asexual reproduction. You exist as a polytheistic state of trillions of individual asexually reproducing mother and daughter cells. So your very existence is based on the feminine principle. Literally, more of who I am is feminine than it is masculine. My eyes, my hair, my teeth, my every fucking thing. The most masculine thing about me are my XY chromosome having sperm. But my mind transcends all that shit. It transcends the limitations of that shit. And the goal of the 10% is to keep you at your lowest possible state so that you can be manipulated into doing what they fucking want. And guess what? They don't want any fucking thing. They don't want shit from you. Except for to validate themselves enough to where they don't have to reflect on who they fucking are. And why should you waste your life and waste your potential for somebody that doesn't even know what they fucking want? You know what you want. You know what you're trying to obtain. And you got people holding you back every fucking day. I'm not talking about this isn't me projecting my bullshit. I get out here every fucking day and run 4 miles because I know what the fuck I want. I know where I'm going in life and I know what I'm doing. You know what you want, but you're allowing yourself to be manipulated by a society that doesn't fucking care about you. You're allowing yourself to entertain the bullshit of the 10% of people that are not functional in this world. 90%, let's say that 90% of the men and women on this planet are not on social media whining and complaining about their lives like we are. Let's entertain that for a second. The 10% of the people that you're listening to don't have a fucking clue, to include me. I don't have a fucking clue as to what's supposed to happen and what's supposed to be going on. That's why I created my 2 cents. So I could take the pieces of what I got and I could do the algebra to figure out where I need to be in life and where I'm going. And that is the goal of my 2 cents. And that's why me and my wife conflict. Because at the end of the day, she keeps trying to get me to understand that I'm a failure. I'm not a failure. I have made decisions that did not go the way I wanted them to go. That is not the same as being a failure. A failure is just somebody that hasn't achieved a goal in life. But you have to set a goal before you can be a failure. So her perception of me doesn't quantify who I am. Thus, her position is nullified by the fact that she doesn't understand who I am. You have to understand me before you can tell me who I am. And the fact that you married somebody that has literally told you every fucking thing, I've told her every fucking thing, and you still want to pass judgment on me based on the information that I gave you. You want me to understand that I'm a fucking nigger. I'm just going to keep it 100%. You want to recognize with me that I'm a fucking nigger, and you want me to accept that shit so that we can stay part of the 10%. And I refuse. I fucking refuse. I refuse. I didn't go to the army for 6 years because I'm a fucking coward and a deadbeat and don't want to achieve greatness in life. That's not why I enlisted. I enlisted because I'm a fuck shit up. I enlisted because even though I will be obedient and follow the rules and regulations of this world, I will do what the fuck I want to do. I've watched the history of the world. I will do what I want to do, and what I want to do is be in compliance with a system that works. I don't want to follow Donald Trump down the street and attack Congress and all that. I don't need to. Congress shouldn't make dumbass laws and expect me to follow them. That's how a true American functions. That's a dumbass law. Guess what? As an American citizen with rights and privileges, we don't have a tyrannical government. I don't have a king that I have to bow to. Congress doesn't have absolute power. Your policy is fucking stupid. And guess what? I'm intelligent enough to know that your policy is fucking stupid. So you know what I'm going to do? Not be in fucking compliance. Because I have the right as an American. Being an American transcends the bullshit of black and white and purple and green and orange and gray. That's why when I jog down the street every fucking day as a veteran, when the police pull down the fucking street and want to harass me, I remind them, I fucking outrank you. Kiss my ass. Because whether you kill me or let me do what the fuck I want to do, I will fuck you up. I will fuck you up. I will drag you out your car, beat the shit out of you, and then you will have to explain why you got out of the goddamn car and confronted a veteran that's jogging. Because that shit's normalized for me now. I jogged for 6 fucking years while I was enlisted. So me jogging down the street, I'm not fucking crazy. I'm maintaining the fucking standard. I'm maintaining the standard. So you have to explain why you approached Specialist Emerson at 5:30 in the morning while he was jogging down the street. Did Specialist Emerson inform you that he was a veteran? Yes, he did. What did you do? I engaged him with more force. Do you realize that you engaged a soldier with force? Yes, I am aware. And what did he do? He fucked me up. All right. You understand the way this works now. Because we turned him into a fucking weapon, and you confronted a fucking weapon, and he has the rights to bear arms in this country, and he fucked you up. So what do you expect us to do? Do you expect the United States government to charge a veteran with assault of an officer that approached him while he was maintaining a standard? Do you really want the fucking E4 Mafia on our ass? Is that what you want? Is that what you expect to happen right now? No. The government's gonna sweep that shit on the rug like they always fucking do. They're gonna sweep it on the rug like they always do. Because what do you think is gonna happen if anything happens to a veteran in a world that's already fucked up? Recruitment goes down. Recruitment goes down. So what are you gonna do if you can't get people to come to the fucking army? And the army's fucked up. I was there for 6 years. The army's fucked up. Nobody wants to be in the fucking army. You know what it took for me to go to the army? Being homeless twice. I had to be homeless fucking twice before I thought it was a good idea to enlist into the army. And when I was in the army, being fucking homeless was 1,000 times better than being in the fucking army. It was 1,000 times better. I was so fucking content sleeping outside on the goddamn street, getting up every day, working at Jack in the Box. And I did that twice, dealing with my fucking ex, dealing with my daughter's mother. I was homeless twice, trying to come out here and do the right thing as a man in a fucked up ass society. And I go on social media and I see people talking about how, oh, well, you're just not good enough as a man. The problem is that you don't want to go out here and do enough and be a leader and be accountable. And all you're doing is making excuses and whining and complaining. No. 90% of these men out here are doing what they're supposed to do. And statistically, they get lucky enough to get a woman on their vibration and is willing to fucking humble herself and be a part of a broken fucking system. These women that are in these functional ass marriages are doing the fucking work. They're doing the fucking work. And these men that are in these functional ass marriages are doing the fucking work. It doesn't matter if you are a farmer in a third world country, barely making $1 a fucking day. If you are out here being ethically sound, legally abiding to your society and moral and having a moral fucking compass, you are doing the fucking, not God's fucking work. Because God wants you to destroy the world so that one person can have more and everybody else can suffer for that shit. If you're out here doing what you're supposed to do in society by being a functional member of society, you are doing the fucking work. And these governments are failing us. And that's just the way that this shit works. Like, there's no other need to try to figure anything else out. That's just the reality of the world we live in. That's why my sin don't make any fucking views. Because my goal isn't to come out here and entertain and talk about bullshit and add to the algorithm. And no, my goal is to create an empirical system for how we can function in this world based on ethics, morality, and legality. And I can't fucking do it because the system is designed to make sure you fail based on ethics, legality, and morality. That's fucking it. There's nothing else to it than that. The world is broken. The world is fucking broken. And it's broken in just the right way so that the vast majority of people that are already in wealth can maintain their wealth because they don't want to compete against people like me. They don't want to compete against the Paul Emersons of the world. They don't want to compete against the people that are functional members of society that are going to make the necessary change to make their lives difficult. Every fucking corner, there's a McDonald's on it. right? I've worked in the fast food industry all my life. Every corner is a McDonald's. Every McDonald's has a store manager. Every store manager makes this business hundreds of thousands of dollars a week. Pay attention. All of that money goes to one entity, McDonald's. One entity, McDonald's. Now, I give McDonald's credit for what they've achieved, right? Every last McDonald's should not be a McDonald's. Every fast food restaurant should be a fast food restaurant, right? Because that's how capitalism works. That corner should have McDonald's. That corner should have a Ghetto Burger. That corner should have Leo's. That corner should have Tabitha's. Every fucking corner should have a fast food restaurant that is owned and operated by a husband and a wife in a functional ass society. And the crew that works for them comes to work for them. Their brand, their standard, their ethics, their morality, their legality. They live on the same goddamn street that the McDonald's lives on. When people have problems, people can come to Leo and be like, Leo, I have this issue. I got you, man, because I have a functional ass fast food restaurant in this corner and I make $2.5 million every fucking year off of you because you're my neighbor. And so I can give back to my own fucking neighborhood because I live in my neighborhood, and the money that I make as a general manager is my money because I'm also the owner operator. But none of the general managers that run these stores are owner operators. So you dedicate 30 or 40 years of your life as an owner operator making less than $100,000 a year in a fast food restaurant that makes millions of fucking dollars a year. We're not talking about McDonald's makes $1 million and after maintenance and labor and expense, they have to figure out how much their profit margin is. No, the profit margin of the average fast food restaurant is 1.5 to $10 million a year, unless it's a smaller entity like a Subway or a Jimmy John's or even like a Domino's. But guess what? These smaller entities that make less money than the McDonald's are making the same exact profit margin because they have less overhead and less expense. So you have to just see the world for what it is. You have to understand the reality of the nature of what we're doing. And I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to say. I'm really irritated that the thing that irritates me about the conflict with my wife is I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but I can't prove it. Like, that's the reason. See, the reason why I run 4 miles every day is because I understand that you can't prove shit. If I go, yeah, I run 4 miles every day. No one has to believe me. No one has to fucking care. I don't believe that you ran 4 miles, but I ran 4 miles. I don't believe you. I don't fucking believe you. You say that you did it. Where's the evidence? Well, if you come run with me, I'm not running with you. Why not? Because I don't need to. You're not running 4 miles, so why do I need to come and believe you? Why do I need to come see you run 4 miles so you can prove to me that you're doing something that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're not doing because my God says that you're not doing it? If my God says you're not doing it, then you're not fucking doing it. That energy is so fucking counterproductive. It's so counterproductive. And the reason why I'm running 4 miles isn't to validate myself to anybody. I don't need to. I need to validate I went in the army for 6 years. I don't need to validate myself to nobody. The average recruiter, the average American citizen doesn't have what it takes. 90% of Americans don't have what it takes to get into the army, let alone be functional and actually be able to serve. So I gotta pee. I'll be back.